So, buddy, tell me, what do you think of this Odyssey? Finally, we get a chance to talk about it.
I know.
Uh,
And you've seen it more than once, right?
I saw it twice. Both in IMAX.
Me too, which gave me time
So
to think about it.
okay, well, so basically, I went with a friend, this Iraqi guy. He's not a movie guy at all, but he's like, okay, let's, because I haven't seen him because he lives in Baghdad, so he just pulled up, and I'm like, okay, so let's go watch it. And the moment we came out of the theater, he was like, wow, wow. He was like, unbelievable. And he asked me, what do you think? And I was like, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man. I wasn't wowed. I thought it was a good movie. It was fantastic. Everything was top quality. I got nothing. It's just like, yeah, it's a good movie, but nothing like, oh my God, I can't believe this, blah, blah, it's nothing like that.
As you know, there's been a huge fight, for like IMAX 70 millimeter tickets because there's only
Yeah.
so many places in the world that have that format or whatever. And I bought
Yes.
tickets because I'm in New York and I'm near that cinema. I bought tickets like 6 months ago, but even then, or the only screening I could find with a good seat was 2 in the morning. So I went in very excited too. I was, I set an alarm. I woke myself up like 12. You go make your way to the theater. I got there. There's a whole line around the corner, which is really crazy to see. At 2 in the morning, people like
Yeah.
queuing
Yeah.
up to get into a cinema. That first night for me was an experience, and on a big screen like that, it is an experience. But I had someone the next day ask me, like, "What do you think of the film?" And I'm like, I'm not sure it is a film. It's an experience. It's a great I think it's a great cinema experience. But having seen it a few times now too, I definitely think there's some flaws, you know. And I hear the criticisms I hear. I agree with a lot of them. People talking about the dialogue, and yeah, at the same time, I love it. I think I love it. You know what I mean? There's so much I love
Mm-hmm.
about it, especially
Mm-hmm.
the first night I went to see it, the guys beside me like were really amped up and they were like bouncing around. But the cinema,
Yeah.
is so big, like it takes up your entire peripheral. I found them kind of distracting, so I was like doing this in my seat, and otherwise the whole peripheral was just like taken up by the screen. And that first viewing experience, I left there being like, whoa, like visually cool. And we could talk about it. There's some things I like that he did story wise, but for IMAX, I was really expecting some like awe-inspiring images, like Lawrence of Arabia, David Lean kind of, I don't know, something not to say worthy of IMAX, but I did expect with a film like this to see some people to go in and expect to see some images more than just movie that's a lot of medium close-ups, so you got a face at massive scale. I thought it was kind of I don't want to say a waste of the opportunity, but I understand why audiences are going in and then coming out being like, "Oh, that's not what I expected."
But you're right about that because I remember Dune Part Two. That scene when at the beginning when those guys start going up the mountain. It's just that moment when you're like,
Right. Exactly.
well,
No, no, not only
you
that,
know,
I should say, and that you remember my old roommate Cameron?
yeah, of
I
course.
told him I was like, wait and see, because if you go to the 70 millimeter IMAX screening, Denis Villeneuve gave 5 minutes of Dune Part Three. They screen it before the movie, so I've seen 5 minutes of Dune Part Three already, and they're amazing. They're better,
Yeah.
and we walked out there. He texted me immediately after the Odyssey, and he said the 5 minutes of Dune was better visually than the entirety of Odyssey, and I said, I know. I said,
Ooh.
and I've known that since night one. The very first
Yeah.
night, like I said, I was there on the opening night, 2 a.m. I saw that footage from Dune, and I was like, oh, holy crap! And then the Odyssey came after you. You're like, oh no,
Oh, oh
Not to
no,
say, and
yes.
again, I think it's funny. There's a line in there's a line in the Odyssey which is like, no more lotus flowers, and Matt Damon goes, but I love it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this, but I love it. I do love it
Yeah.
still. There's so much I still love
Yeah.
about the movie, but also I do think people walk out of there being like, oh, that's not what I expected when people said IMAX or or massive scale. I think it's kind of lost, and I think you kind of lose how much I appreciate the massive scale. I know what they mean. They've got 70,000 extras, whatever else. But so did
Yeah.
like Lawrence of Arabia, right? And look at those shots. You can tell. You look out there, you're like, oh my God, look at all those people. And this, it's like, I don't know, if you're mostly focused on your lead character, which Nolan's obviously more character driven, with his shot design. I don't know. I think that was one of the things that maybe was lacking, and the dialogue is pretty bad, pretty heavy handed, you know. And yet, I'd love to talk about some things I like,
Well, tell me this. I want to ask you something. So, when you have you read the thing before? Did you ever read the Odyssey
No,
or any?
in the schools in the U.S. Most people do read it. I never did
Yeah,
because I had
I
a
never did
Christian
it.
upbringing. I went to
Okay.
Christian school. uh, But I
Yeah.
also purposefully didn't want to, like, I was like, knowing this movie was coming out, I wanted to kind of hopefully be surprised. But I realized as I was watching it that I knew a lot of the stories already.
A
You
lot of the
know,
beats.
a lot of
Yeah.
the beats. You also, I recognized how it inspired other things, that I've read and known. Like even, the Odyssey predates the Bible, and
Yes.
there's a story in the Bible about Jacob and Esau. They have a blind, their father's going blind, and he's trying to convince his father, he's pretending to be his brother. His brother's very hairy, has very hairy arms, so he puts sheep's fur on his arms to convince his blind father, who's feeling him. He walks in and says,
Yeah.
is that you, my son? And
Yeah.
as I was watching the Odyssey, I was like, oh, well,
Oh yes.
there's the origin of that scene.
That's the origin of that scene. Yes. 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 Yes.
No offense to Bible believers, but
No, but it's a classic story. Classic story. You
yeah,
know what I'm
right.
saying?
I was like, so. Yeah, you see these things kind of, I don't know, as they were coming, kind
Yeah.
of recalled them to end the way I think they're just in the you know zeitgeist of fictional
See,
stories.
because that's what like I looked online, and there's a lot of criticism of this movie when they try to say, okay, the poem was like this, and the movie didn't do this, and all that. So I'm like, okay, well I can disregard that criticism because I haven't read the original, so I can't really like, okay, whatever it's on the screen, that's all I'm judging. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
feel the
That's all.
same way.
I told you like after I finished the movie, I got hyped up after that because I started watching interviews. I started watching. So my lowest point was after I saw it, and then after that, it grew. It grew. You know what I'm saying?
So
It
does that
grew.
mean your second viewing was a better experience? You saw
Not
it the second time?
necessarily. Not necessarily, but it wasn't worse for sure. You know. And the first experience was because it's the first time you watch it. See, I went first time I went with one person, and second time I like you. I had to book. Boo! I never saw this in Oman before. I've never saw this booked theater for Wallah. I've never seen this. This is actually gave me like really. I was really like happy about this because I couldn't book it like you said. I didn't book it 6 months in advance, obviously, but just the idea that you have to book it a week in advance. I've never seen this, in Oman. So I was like, wow, this is cool. This is cool. And I tried to get the good seats because, bro, I realized something. If you get bad seats and your head is like this all the time,
Exactly.
I don't know. I used to love it when I was younger, but now I'm
No.
like, I don't
That's
know,
another
man.
that's another thing I'm saying. Yeah, people are like they want to go see it in
Yeah,
millimeter IMAX so badly. They're bragging like I got front row seats tonight, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna be a horrible experience. Like
horrible
I'm doing a
experience.
70 millimeter IMAX front row seats. I'm like, you're gonna break your neck, and
You're
you
gonna
won't
break
even be
your
able to
neck.
tell what's going on in the movie. Like I sat in the very very back row, and that's the best way to do it. To be honest, and that was kind of
That's the
simple.
best way to.
Even the middle in a true 70 millimeter. If you can't get a good seat, but don't waste your time because it's
Don't waste
not.
your time. No,
Uh,
it's
I mean,
it's
somebody's
horrible.
got to fill the theater, I suppose.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
amazed that every seat is filled. Same here, I guess.
Every seat, bro. Every seat was filled. It's
Still,
crazy.
to now, they've extended it here in New York through September, so it's still growing. But I also am saying, I think, and I don't know if it's because of like there's a hype element to this too. I think it's overhyped. I guess
Overhyped.
of like, oh, it's going to be, and then it can never meet your expectations. And for me, that first before any of the interviews or too much of the hype came out, I saw it. So my first impression was like, sweet, that was awesome. Had a great time, and I sat with it, saw it again. I still, like I said, I love the movie, but also I think dialogue's pretty heavy-handed. The metaphors are a bit confusing, and it's one of the kind of classic cinema sins of a plot, which is instead of like this is happening for a plot's purpose device, it's just and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this, and then this, and then he's home. It's kind of the way it feels. Even though he contrived it really well, I think it suits Nolan's sort of non-linear storytelling style. This sort of style suits that really well. But also, like when people walk out of it and they're like, I don't know if that totally works. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. It's confusing, but there are parts I really like too. So
Okay, let's say what we liked. Let's do. Tell me what you liked about this movie, even after. How many times did you watch it? How many times did you watch it?
I've seen it 3 times.
Three times. Okay, 3 times. So tell me something that all 3 times you liked, like from the beginning until the end. Like you saying, this is great.
Sorry, it's going to be a long-winded answer because
No,
like you were saying
perfect.
before about like, is this true story or is it following this, the true like poem original and stuff. And I think that what Nolan has done, he's like it's kind of a Trojan horse of the movie. He's trying to encapsulate an idea that was never in the poem at all. This so of course we would never see it coming. We would never, it's not the idea of the poem. It's not what it's trying to communicate. He's trying to communicate something different. And he used the Odyssey to do it, like a Trojan horse, if you will. He snuck in this narrative. And that's what I love about it, which is he's warning us that if civilizations don't respect each other, and we don't respect our common man, and we don't respect, then we're going to all collapse. And people are, that's what the narrative is supposed to be. It's like this guy's recognizing we've broken the world, and I think the fear is, okay, will that happen again? And people are making fun of the line, like, oh, our Bronze Age is collapsing. You probably have seen people making fun of this, like, no one knows that in the time they're in, that they're collapsing. Like, that's the point of this, what he's trying to say here. And it's very on the nose. It's very on the nose dialogue. I'll give you that. But what I love about it is the Athena character. They've snuck in, which throughout the entire movie, right from the get-go, so I guess I will go through from the start. Very first opening scene, we're introduced to this concept of Zeus's law, which is the heartbeat of this of Nolan's movie here. It's the heartbeat of what he's trying to communicate to us, which I think is called Xena, something in the original poem. And right from the get-go, we see that a stranger, a beggar, comes to the door. And Tom Holland's character, the son of Odysseus, says, no, that might, remember Zeus's law, that might be a god in disguise. That might be Zeus, right? That might be Athena. Yeah. He says, hey, you have Athena's eyes. Now you have to take that concept. No one gives it to us right at the beginning. Now take that concept and apply it to the entire time when he's seeing Zendaya. He's seeing this person. The epitome, the visual, representation of Athena is played by Zendaya, and you get to the final scene of the movie and realize, or you see, a prophet from a temple, Athena's temple in Troy, and once they've come inside the Trojan horse has been successful, they've made it inside and they're sacking the city and they're just killing people left and right. They plop down a prophet right in front of the thing. You look up and it's Zendaya. So then it makes you wonder: is he being followed by Athena, or is he being followed by? Is this the face? Just like the beginning, is it a beggar? Do you find God in the faces of humans? Which is what happened to him. So I think this is the big twist, if you will, that Nolan's building toward, and it's also kind of the spinning wheel of Inception. Is he really dreaming? Is it really toppling? For me, that's what this is. Like, is it really Athena? Is it really, or is it this? Is he now being haunted and seeing this representation of, oh, I've broken the world?
Well, I also love it, but then again, you see what's the Charlie Theron character, what's her name?
Calypso.
Calypso, yeah. So
I mean, if Caribbean better.
Calypso, I release you from your human bonds.
So if Calypso is actually Calypso, because remember at one of the scene, Calypso, she comes to Matt Damon and he was talking to Zendaya, And she comes to him and he said, who were you talking to? And she said,
Exactly.
Athena came to me. And she
Right.
didn't say, so it had to be Athena because she
Well, she
didn't
didn't
like,
see her,
well,
and she's a god. She's a god too. Anyway,
yeah,
again,
no,
that's
I
the
like it. I
argument.
love it.
That's
I
the
love it. I
argument.
love
I
it.
hear.
I
I
love
get
it.
what you're
I love it.
saying.
I love it. I love it.
That's
I
the
love it.
argument.
I
You can
love it.
go back and
Yeah.
forth all day, probably. Or you're
Yeah.
right, or it's just Athena. And that's the
No,
idea. And maybe she just decides to show herself as that person. Either way, you know what I'm saying. Nolan decided to show us that together as the heads get
that's
chopped
right.
off. They cut to also this woman being plopped down. So you could also decide, oh no, that's just him seeing Athena in a human. Maybe that was
Mm.
Athena. Again, you can go many ways with that, but I think that's what I love about it is that interpretation, and then him also, yeah, that kind of. But again, this is where I also say just a caveat to the problem
Yeah.
for me. This is why it's a problem narrative because he still also has to stick uh, to the true story a little bit, which has this ending of him returning and just like slaughtering all these guys who are in his house, right? But it's kind of
Yes.
conflicting when you're trying to tell us that he's learned this lesson of like, we wrote the world and death is bad and we should be killing each other. And then the next scene is like,
Let's fucking kill everyone, bro. Bah! Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's why I was like, as much as I love it, but I was like, it's very hard. This is why it's when you're making an adaptation, especially when you're trying to tell a narrative that the other story wasn't trying to tell, you're gonna run into some issues. And I think that's what this
But
is.
but people love that. Like anyone who I asked, that last ending, people think that that ending was
Me
like when he
too.
was killing them. They were like, "Yeah, let's get this
I was
motherfucker."
pretty pumped up as well, but
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
conflicted by it because you'd also
yeah,
think of
yeah,
like Zeus's law,
yeah,
what right? What
yeah.
happened to that 5 seconds ago?
Yeah, and in the poem, because I was watching a bunch of shit in the poem, the guy he actually kills all the people, and then all the women that slept with, he
Yes.
hangs them. He takes them
Yeah,
and
well,
he
his
hangs.
son does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he
Well,
hangs a
also,
bunch of them.
thank God the story ends there because also I think yeah, Odysseus goes off and he dies, and then his
Yes,
son like marries Cersei. You know what I'm saying? Like people are
I
like,
know
that's
that's
this is why I'm like,
yeah,
I don't want to see all that. That sounds like thank God for an
nah,
adaptation. This is also going
yeah,
back to Dune. I'm very
yes,
grateful for all the things I have read Dune, and I'm
yeah.
very grateful for what they've omitted
The minute,
from the book and from the
from
movies.
the, okay, I
So
got
I'm like, thank God sometimes the adaptations happen this way, especially on screen.
yeah,
But yeah, no, he made some choices that I mostly agree with. Also, just talking about things we like, from a technical standpoint, all the visual
tell me,
effects, very cool. The turning people into pigs, the kind of classic old
yeah,
school
yeah,
animatronics. Oh, it reminds me of
yeah,
this these old B horror movies of
yeah.
werewolf in London or whatever, changing from a werewolf.
Oh, the thing. Okay, well let me give you one thing that I liked, and then also one little criticism. The thing that I really liked is, like you said, just I don't know the atmosphere. I really like the atmosphere because Nolan he did this thing with Zimmer on Interstellar. He didn't want any orchestra.
Yes.
And after me watching all the Steven Spielberg movies, bro, that orchestra was, and then there was this movie didn't have none of that, and
Right.
I loved it. And even though there's no like Zimmer like magic, I still kind of think that the soundtrack is really good. The
It's haunting.
atmosphere, it's
Yeah.
haunting. I really enjoyed the whole the atmosphere of the movie. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was great. But acting, Tom Holland, brother, Tom Holland. I don't know about his
I knew you
acting.
were going to bring this up somehow.
I
And
don't
I
know
remember very
about.
particularly, I think he's doing I think he wanted to have a very different, because they chose the American accents. I think he didn't want to sound anything like Spider-Man. So he's doing a very different kind of, uh, you know, not to say accent, it still just seems like the kind of from anywhere American accent, but he's doing this. I don't know. It's all bit. I agree. There's some stintedness to the performance, but I think that he's not the only one. There's also a level that, unfortunately, that the script brings for just a level of intensity to everything that I find, especially on multiple watches. Like the first time, you're like, "Wow, okay, yeah, this must be a really intense movie." The second time, you're like, "Okay, it's been 20 years, and they're still all teary eyed about this." And 20 years later, she's like, Where is he? Is he coming home?" I think after might want to ease it up a little bit. So maybe you know what I'm saying. I don't know
No,
something
you're
about
right.
something about it all came on a little strong to me. which is funny because then by the time he finally really does come home, and when Tom Holland, which I love, another scene I love when he meets the Argos, the dog, and he's like, "You should bear him on the hill," and that's when Tom Holland realizes that's his father. That's a really nice moment. It's not overacted, just a little bit twinkle of a tear, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Shut."
yeah,
And I was like, "Where was that the rest of this time? Like, why was everybody been?" Even Anne Hathaway, I think Anne Hathaway is a great actress, but the entire movie, she's just like on the verge of tears, and I'm like, for 20 years, you've been on the verge of tears. I think it maybe could have, there's an intensity that the script called for that didn't really feel like real to the story, even though it felt important to the script. The script had an urgency, right? Like, gotta come home, gotta go get him. But I was like, but in reality, if you're thinking about this 20 years and they're still just like, crying at each other every day or yelling,
yeah.
and I don't know. So, but I'll say all
That's
that.
that's a
Yeah,
good point. That's a good point, actually. Now that I think about it, you're right. You're totally right. It works in a kind of narrative way, but there's no. It's like they know that he's gonna come. And also to be fair, what do you think about the whole? For me, okay, I'll just give you one thing about the message of the movie for me because I'm all over this Ukraine war. This thing going on. So I'm thinking, okay, so this is about a soldier because like there was one thing because there's Iliad and then there's the Odyssey. So this one guy said Iliad is every soldier going to war should read Iliad, and every soldier coming home from war should read the Odyssey. And so the Odyssey is really, for me, it felt like okay, as a soldier, you go to war, you do all this stuff. And I'm not even talking. I don't even know about the poem, but as a movie, I felt this was really about like a soldier doing bad things at war and then trying to come back home. And he didn't really. And this whole trip was like a guilt trip. He didn't really want
yeah,
to go back. It was just him dealing with what he did. As
yeah,
a
yeah. You're right. A lot of people are saying that it's yeah, it's about the post-traumatic stress and guilt of war. There's definitely that element. I do like that part too. Like he didn't want to come home. Uh,
yes.
you know, aspect to it.
But here's the thing though, when he goes to war, there's nothing he can do. Like it's not like he had to learn a lesson. Like in the beginning, he was like, "Yeah,
Right.
war, we're gonna fuck him up," and then in the end,
Exactly.
he was like, "Shit, I didn't think
Well,
about this.
exactly. He's like,
This
oh
was the
no.
only
He's like, oh
idea.
no, it worked.
It worked."
It's
Yeah.
because he made it is because Nolan's idea for the film is not the story. I mean, that is not the original story. It's not about him feeling guilty, and so of course all those things feel contrived. Because the truth is, it's about him being led by the gods to do, to have a purpose and do certain things.
Well, what do you think? What do you think is the arc? Because in the beginning, he like even before he goes to war, he talks to his wife. It's like, oh, it's really not about Helen. It's
Right.
about getting the trading. He just wants to destroy it. It's going to be a long war. So even in the beginning, he knows he's screwed, and then he goes to war and he does what he. I feel like there was no really like him breaking the Zeus law. I don't think it was really a choice. I think it was just inevitable. It was just that's just gonna happen. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I agree. So I say it's a confusing narrative. I think that is meant to be his arc is that he just wanted the war to end so badly. He contrived this idea, he lied to make it happen,
maybe,
and then feels guilty about it. But it is like it's the
maybe,
same, which is kind of the same as Oppenheimer, right? Like I
maybe.
really wanted to make this bomb. Then it's like, oh
Yeah,
shit, I made the bomb. I did it. Uh-oh.
yeah,
You know?
yes,
I think it
yes,
is kind
yes.
of that, which is again, maybe it's about AI, maybe it's about like, we're building things that are going to destroy us. We like
Yeah,
the Trojan horse. We build something that's going to break our world, but maybe we
break
can
away.
rebuild it again. I don't know.
And also what you said about like going from point A to point B, like it's like they go on an island, then come back, then they go on. It's like I
Yeah,
really I didn't feel the connection of why. It's just because at the moment they land somewhere, okay, there's gonna be some bullshit going on, then they leave. The moment they land, some
yeah.
bullshit
It,
going on,
became,
and
it
then they
starts to
leave.
be funny. Literally, they're just like, "Oh,
Yeah,
get the fuck out! We're back to the boats." Every 15 minutes.
and everything was inevitable. Like at the end of the day, you knew that there was no logic to it. It's just because
That's
the
I mean, this is
gods.
another thing about right. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you give me. I love what you're saying.
Yeah, the original story is is not trying to teach that same kind of lesson. It's just like it was one uh of this guy's like he was cocky
He
and
was cocky, yes.
hubris and like
Hubris.
and he even by the end I'm not really sure he learned something. I'm not really sure he learned
Yeah.
a lesson. That wasn't supposed to be the point. The point was supposed to be obey the gods. You
By the
know,
gods.
don't
Yes.
which is kind of a lesson he learns here. Like that's what she's like. In the movie. She's like, go into the sea and take your beating. From Poseidon. He makes his wrath. That's supposed to
Yeah.
represent that he's being punished. But again, that's why Nolan goes to a point to never show us a physical representation of any of the gods except Athena, which is why which
And
is
what's her name?
well,
Charlize Theron.
well, she's not really a god.
No, she's not a god.
She's
Okay.
she's like
Okay.
I thought about this too, which
All
is
right.
why I've come to my theory, about this
Uh,
what Athena is supposed to mean to us because it's the only one because there's also when you watch on multiple occasions there's a lot of thunder, which the thunder always represents Zeus,
Zeus.
but there's no physical representation of him. The only physical representation they give a god is Athena, and then at the end show you it was also maybe a person. So I think there's also a line in there toward the end which is it says don't look for gods in men, you'll always be disappointed. He says to Tom Holland, it's like you have Athena's eyes. Keeps repeating to everybody. Oh, you have Athena's eyes. He says don't look for gods inside of men. You're just gonna be
Okay. Ah,
disappointed.
that's good. That's good. I didn't catch that. That's good. That's
And,
good. I
and
like
I
that.
think that's the thing. Like again, but it's pretty heavy handed actually. Like
Yeah.
he goes because it starts off with this beggar to make sure we're going to come right back around to the end where Odysseus returns as a beggar. But it's all to I think introduce them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that very
Well,
first one, when he comes in, it's like careful, and then the thunder happens with that first beggar.
yes.
Remember, it's like that might be a god there. And they all back off. They're trying to put that idea in your head pretty early into the movie. Is like maybe God is in. Anyway,
And Robert Pattinson. Shout out to Robert Pattinson.
killed it, nailed
Killed it. Nailed it. Yes. I can't wait for Batman. Yeah, and also I really enjoyed the right hand man
Me
of Matt
too.
Damon. I thought he was cool. I thought like
Tell.
I believed, yeah, Gaspar, I believed like everything he was when he was doubting, when he was like, I was like, this dude is the G man. I really like his acting in this one.
Me
Really
too. I
like
thought he was really good, which is funny too, because like again, that's a character kind of created by Nolan. Apparently, he's
Yeah,
mentioned one time in the original. So again, I'm like, thank God for these additions because he was my favorite character too. Just
yeah,
that's some really great moments. Like he's screaming in the end. It's like, beg for forgiveness when their ship's
yeah,
sinking.
yeah,
Beg for
yeah.
the
Thanks
gods
for
for
that.
forgiveness. And it's just like, I don't know. That guy had a really great narrative. And you also see that when they're sacking Troy, there's a really great moment where Odysseus is about to be killed, and then
Kidding.
he comes over and saves his life and just absolutely
Save
like
his
wrecks this guy. They look at
Yeah,
each other like, you
yeah,
got like I don't know. There's a camaraderie there. You can see
yeah,
that they're all thankful to him. It's like this was your idea. We've done this, which is I think again it introduced this idea of guilt, and he's realizing what he's done. But it's always funny to me that the ideas these guys develop these ideas, know it's a
yeah,
trick, know exactly what they're doing. They go, oh no, it worked. Oh
yeah,
no, exactly. It worked. Everything I wanted to happen happened.
yeah.
Maybe that's the lesson.
And maybe again, like you said, it's different meaning from the original because the original Helen of Troy is being stolen, right? And so that's where the war. So the code, the original code, Zeus law, the Troy apparently breaks it. So the good guys are the Greeks, but in this version, it's clearly understandable that this is not has nothing to do with Helen. It's all about control of the trade routes.
Yeah, even the movie
And
Troy says the same thing. I noticed.
yeah, yes,
So they've,
yes,
I
and
mean,
I,
that's an addition we've thought of centuries later.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
think.
Compared to other Nolan movies, I thought about this. I was like,
Yeah,
is this better than Interstellar? No. Is this better than Inception? No. Is this better than Dark Knight? No. Is it better than Oppenheimer? Is it? Maybe.
they're different. Again, I go back to the very first thing I still believe my first thought coming out of the theater, which was it's an experience.
It's an
I'm not
experience.
sure there's a narrative there. that that even warrants calling it a film. I mean, it is obviously
Yeah,
it's a film.
obviously,
It has a
yeah.
story,
It's a
but that was
it's
a
a
that was
story.
a cinematic experience to have. It was like loud. It was intense. It was right up to my face. Even though I wish there were more kind of like atmospheric elements. And besides, like there was a beautiful shot of my two favorite sort of shots like this. That you see the dolphins jumping in
Yeah,
the ocean, which I think was an accident while they were
accent.
just
Yeah,
filming. So that's one of
yeah,
my favorite shots in the movie. Because I wish they did things like that. And then
yeah.
there's another one when they go into Hades and it's the river of fire and the river of ice. Beautiful kind of
Yes,
atmospheric moment they really captured in camera. And I wish there was a lot
yeah,
more of that kind of stuff. Has has Nolan's work been kind of, because there was Tenet as well, which I think kind of gotten lost in the conversation.
yeah.
Even though it was a big swing, kind of like this. But like as far as it connecting with people, it feels similar to this, where there was a lot of talk, and then like slowly audiences are being like, I don't know, I don't feel anything, you know.
Yeah. I feel like yeah, Tenet. I feel see, Oppenheimer was for me a better movie than Tenet. I liked Oppenheimer more than Tenet.
For sure.
So I thought it went. And I feel like this is better than Oppenheimer. Maybe not historically, but I feel like it's a more of a experience, like you
Yeah.
said.
Well, I
More
think
of an
so. That's another, I
experience.
think, an interesting thing to come out of this. Like you were saying before, right? Like huge box office numbers in the US, but also even where you are, you're seeing in Oman,
Yeah.
people selling out these tickets. It's like he's got a blank check. No one can do whatever he wants to do next. What will that be? What is he going to do next?
What is he gonna do next?
Like, how do
What
you
is he
top
gonna do next?
this? Why would you even try to? Would you, or do you go back to do something intimate like Oppenheimer, which is also the same kind of thing. Oppenheimer, he shot in IMAX for these rooms are this big to shoot. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
got a guy sitting there getting interviewed by the government, and they got this massive camera in a room
Massive
smaller than the
camera.
one I'm in now.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little like I hope if he were to quiz his fans, I'd love to see some bigger the kind of stuff like you remember like the way you felt when you watched Inception the first time. There's
Yes.
really
Yes. Yes.
there were images on screen that were like whoa,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'd like to see him return to if he were to poll his fans. Because I am still a fan,
Papa.
and I did love this movie. I love this
Oh
movie.
yeah, I
I
love
love
that.
it,
And
but I love
and
it.
dude, are we gonna get Oscars here? I surely I see. I can see it. I can see it easily getting Oscars. And again, I haven't seen anybody get this excited for a movie in a long time. And it did not disappoint me. Maybe I was looking for something more, but again, it's such a classic story, and there's so many interpretations of the story. So I feel like if I knew the story, I would appreciate, because like when in SCAD, I remember the Shakespeare class, and we would have to read this book, and I would be like, okay, I'm gonna just watch all the movies done on this book, and every time I would watch, if there was something new or something different, I would like it more. Because I'll be like, oh, because I've seen so many adaptations. I
Right.
haven't seen this interpretation. I haven't seen this idea or something. So and then each like section, like them sacking of Troy, you already know what it is. You already know what it is. So it's just but this is how he shows it, and there's no real battles like in Troy. Like remember the Brad Pitt versus Hector. When
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
fighting.
I
And
mean, the
just
closest, I guess, is the sack of Troy when they come out of
the
the.
second of, but
Because
it's not
I really
glamorous.
like. It's not glamorous, and it's kind of
No.
dark. I like it though. But I really like John Bernthal in this movie.
Oh, I love the guy. I love
I
the guy.
love his
He's my guy,
delivery of
boy.
his lines. Like he's like, "You ever heard the story of the horse? You ever heard it from the
Yeah,
inside?"
from the inside.
Remember him throwing that spear during that
Yeah,
scene?
yeah.
So I don't know. There's
Yes,
a lot of
man.
parts. Like I say, I do think there's some iconic things come out of it, um, and people will be
No.
talking about it for a long time.
Oh hell yeah.
You know?
Oh hell yeah. And I love interpretations of classical literature.
Yeah,
In
well, it's
any
funny
way.
that
And
we talked. You say that because also after watching this, I rewatched "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou,"
I gotta watch
which
it.
is which is also an
It's
interpretation of the
supposed to be
Odyssey.
of the
So,
Odyssey.
so
Yes.
maybe it's one of the better ones. But again, no one was complaining about that. No one's like, well, hey,
No.
they didn't hire any Greek actors. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
want to introduce us, Pete?
The casting was great. But what do you think of Benny Safdie? You know what? He worked for me because he never
Dude,
took off his helmet.
Actually,
You
there's
know,
something else I should talk about that I really, again, this goes back into this. This goes back into the same theme I have. What I really like about this movie is that when at first I came out of it being like, what was that about? They never show his face, and then when he does speak, he's just like very much just like I loved his line deliveries, this monotone sort of not. He's the only person in the movie not overacting, just like don't do what I did, go to the back door. But it made me realize that because he is Agamemnon is this like godlike perception to them. I mean, he is this embodiment of supposedly, I mean, all kings bowing down to him to come join forces with him. So and he's also, lost his humanity for doing things like killing his own daughter, and what I mean,
to get some wind.
Exactly. But for all those reasons, to rob him of his humanity, again, don't look for gods and men, but to make him hidden behind this like facade. People making fun of it, like this Darth Vader looking thing. I'm like, this is an interpretation. There's things he's trying to tell you with these choices that I think people are just blowing off because like doesn't look real, or it's like like why did he never take the helmet off? Why did he choose not let us see this guy's face? These are all choices they made thematically, and it's up to you to interpret why. I choose that reason, but again, I've heard others, and I think that's the beauty of these kind of things is that I love the questions it creates. Why did they do that? Why didn't we get to see Agamemnon's face?
And he was the only Greek guy in the cast, actually.
Is he?
He's Greek. So
That's funny.
and they never took off the helmet. So I love it. And you know what? I really like Charlize Theron, even though there wasn't really like any like how did he get there, and I just took it as a prison of his own mind. But I kind of felt like she was. And I liked his conversation with her and him trying to remember, and the eating, the lotus eating.
What they don't get into with that is that she's exiled there herself. Like so, she's been exiled there she's like a bastard kid of Poseidon or something. So she's not quite a god, but she kind of has some powers or something. She's eternal, but she did something bad, so she was exiled to live on the island by herself. And then when Odysseus and his men got there, she was like, "Oh, stay with me." But I don't know. I think she did good. I had to rewatch it a few times to recognize, Thunder speaks to her because I was like, why does she just change her mind suddenly? She's like, no, stay with me. Don't keep eating flour. And then like 2 minutes later, she's like, stop eating the flour. And she's changed her mind because I realized in the second watch that she's looking up and she'll hear thunder because Zeus is being like, hey, and she's like, oh. She realizes she's in trouble, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there are influences of the gods still in here, but he leaves it up to you. Is that them deciding that the signs and wonders are gods? Because the very first line, right? The movie starts over black and it says, "In a time of apparent magic."
Apparent magic, yes.
Which could mean, again, that's what I love about Nolan. It could mean two things. Apparent is a fun word in English.
Yes.
Because it could mean it's apparent as in it's absolute. It's right in front of you. There it is.
Yeah,
or it can mean it seems to be real. Like it's so apparent. That's apparently there's a Cyclops out there on that island. And I think that word choice alone sets up again in a time of apparent magic. So is that apparently a goddess or is that Athena?
Yeah. Is there skepticism when you say apparently? He's the god. But you're not sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No, I totally. And I love the thunder. Because I'm a junkie for sound and mood. Every time there was drums or thunder or just and I love the IMAX sound. IMAX sound is the best sound. So that shit I love. I really like, and I really love his loudness. I know people complain, but I think it's great. I love loud movies.
Me too. It's funny. People always complain like I can't understand what the characters are saying. Is a common complaint in his movies, but this one made it pretty clear.
This made it clear. Yes.
What would you like to see if what do you think he'll do next, or what would you want to do next?
Personally, I love anything to do with like space. I would love him to do like a Dune movie. Imagine him doing like something like a space opera. But then again, I feel like what's the motivation for him? See,
When
the thing
when
is,
this was announced, I thought he was going to adapt it and put it in space.
yeah,
I think we all did.
yeah.
There were fake posters with him and Tom Holland. You probably saw with them like wearing spacesuits that people thought was
Yeah.
real.
No, it's like because when he did Tenet didn't do very well, so that's why he did Oppenheimer, which was a lower budget movie, but it made so much money. This movie is gonna make so much money, so he can do anything he wants, basically. But I feel like it's gonna be. You know what? I don't know, man. Because Denis Villeneuve, he's doing the Bond movie after after Dune, he's gonna do Bond. I really would love Nolan to do a Bond movie, but he's not gonna do it because it's a British type of thing. I feel like, or some sort of. I mean, imagine like a pirate, Caribbean, something to do with that. I would love to do because I feel like he could do like really cool practical, and
Yeah,
anything to do with battles or Napoleon or so like a hero.
I've heard people say the Dante's Inferno
Oh, that
would
would
be
be
really
fucking
hard
great.
to, but I have a feeling he
I
will
would love
not.
that. I would love
Yeah,
that. I would love that.
I just have a feeling he won't go back toward trying to adapt a classical piece for a while again.
Oh,
But we'll see.
maybe Caesar.
this is-
Some Rome. That would be amazing. Fucking anything historical. Because Dunkirk, I love Dunkirk. Dunkirk was amazing. That shot, that's still, I feel like that's the best shot I've ever seen in my life. Especially in that trailer when the people are on the boat and you see the plane and they all just kind of come to. Boy, I had goosebumps. And it just goes to black. And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh!"
I think that might have been his best use of IMAX. Probably was that
yes.
film so far. So far,
I'm just gonna say it's gonna be 3 years. It's a 3 year, 2023, 2026, 20,
before we
like,
see something
20
again.
See something again from
Yeah,
Nolan.
yeah, oh for sure.
So who knows, bro? Who knows what's gonna happen? So closing thoughts, I would say, amazing movie. It's a classical interpretation, and what's great about this movie is that I went down the YouTube rabbit hole of watching a bunch of videos about Homer, the meaning, all different interpretations. I just saw this, Christopher Hitchens, that guy who
I love him. Yeah,
who
love him.
yeah. So I saw this whole C-SPAN, like him for like an hour, and two other people talking about the Odyssey, and how he was talking about, it's all about the gods, the gods play with it, like that. And I love all, because, and it's just that in general. I feel
Send me
that's
that.
great.
I'd like to see that
Oh, I'll send you the link.
'cause
Definitely.
I love Hitch.
It's a unique guy, bro.
You know, fun fact, Robert Pattinson actually based the voice accent he used in Tenet on Christopher Hitchens' voice.
I knew.
We get up to some stuff.
Will it stand the test of time?
Mm.
Will it stand the test of time? Are we going to be talking about this movie?
I
like
really
we're
do
talking about?
think. Well, I really do think it'll be remembered as a cinema experience. I think people will think back on how they were trying to get everybody. It was like Jaws, maybe not quite like Jaws.
Yeah.
But this fight, it was the fight of the summer. It's like,
Yes.
go see this movie. So much so that it's being extended. I think that was the experience. I wonder if to have staying power, you got to want to watch it at home. And I don't know if I don't know if that will have the same effect. And also, if people will turn to cinemas for it, because when Lawrence of Arabia goes back to cinemas, I go see it because it looks beautiful on a big screen. It's okay to watch at home. This one I might be like I was saying before, I might just tell people that's all right, you can watch this one at home.
Yeah.
okay.
No, you're right. I totally agree. Buy it on Blu-ray. The
Yeah.
Buy it on Blu-ray.
Buy it on Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.